Hey guys, it's Crossroads here. Today I wanted to talk to you about a company that I believe is poised to benefit from peace between Ukraine and Russia. And that company is right here, Palantir. Palantir, you may recall, maybe not if you're kind of newer to Palantir, was a big supporter and is a big supporter of Ukraine. Alex Karp was the first Western CEO that actually visited Ukraine. He visited Vladimir Zelensky directly. They had a good conversation as well. And of course, their technology has been used for the defense of Ukraine, but it's a lot more than that, too. 2 years ago, they expanded their agreement with Ukraine, and they announced this back in May 25th, so just a little bit less than 2 years ago, that in addition to the military aspect of what they were doing, that they would be involved intimately in the reconstruction of Ukraine once peace was actually reached. And so, just a few areas that they outlined, they said that it was to enhance digital capabilities for electronic public services, providing the defense and reconstruction of Ukraine, supporting and coordinating a digitally led reconstruction of Ukraine, and consolidating the efforts in the fields of digitalization, digital innovations, and integration of Ukraine into the international market. So you might say, well, that's 2 years old news, Roy. Why are you bringing it up now? Well, it's because we seem like that we're in a place where peace is more likely than not. We had this piece that popped up a few hours ago that U.S. and Ukraine have signed a long-awaited natural resources deal. This is something that Donald Trump had mentioned a while back and something that he and Zelensky did not see eye to eye on initially. Well, they have signed an agreement. There is Besant and, of course, the Ukraine's first deputy prime minister, Yulia. Don't know how to say her last name. But they signed the agreement. And what this basically does is it sets up a fund that will be there. Basically, it's a joint fund between the United States and Ukraine that gives United States first rights to a lot of the mineral resources that are there. There's a nice map here, by the way, that they have kind of showing some of those deposits. There's language in here that's a little bit more pro-Ukraine and anti-Russia, putting a lot of the blame and onus on Russia and talking about that nobody that was involved in instigating this war should be able to profit from it. And there's a few other concessions that were given as well. Well, what does this mean for Palantir? Well, first, peace is more likely than not at some point in the near future. When that happens, Palantir will be involved in the reconstruction of Ukraine. Second, with a large fund like this, and they talked about it a little bit in the press release and some news articles as well, there needs to be a player that basically both parties trust. Who has a lot of contracts with the United States government and has level 6 security clearance, has also been involved in this war in helping NATO allies and in Ukraine specifically, and also has been a big supporter of Ukraine. That is Alex Karp and Palantir. I would not be shocked. Now, we don't know anything for sure, but I would not be shocked that Palantir is involved in this as they are with reconstruction. Well, how big of a deal? Let's put that aside for a moment, and we may get a headline at some point in the future or some allusions to it. Probably needs to wait until peace is actually occurring, and then we'll see. But how big a deal is this reconstruction thing for Palantir? When that headline broke a couple of years ago, that's what we postulated. Some of us, myself included, thought this may be one of those things that Palantir does basically for free or at cost or for very little money. After all, this is a company that, yes, they have some massive contracts. They have a pretty expensive service, but the ROI is absolutely there on the commercial side and governmental side. But there are times, such as evacuating people from Afghanistan, such as during COVID and a few other disaster relief implementations, where Palantir says, you know what, it's not about the money for us. Now, they are about driving shareholder value, and they've done a very good job of it. I've had more than a 10x in my position, which is fantastic. But there are times when they just say, you know what, we're just going to take care of this because it's the right thing to do. That may be the case. After all, there was one of those major deals, such as with the UK during COVID, that they said, hey, we are happy to help you with trying to figure out all this vaccine stuff for the price of £1. That's it. Not £1,000,000, not £1 billion, one. That was it. What did that do for Palantir? Well, it did a few things. First, it proved on the world stage how ridiculously good Palantir software was, even at that time back in 2020. It proved that it was very effective, and that probably led, and it looks like it led because we see some communications on this from companies and a little bit of illusion from the United States government to future contracts. But not more than just that, we saw that this was also alluded to when the Palantir was looking to get that NHS deal from the UK. Now, there was a lot of pushback from some that are on the fringe left that, for whatever reason, just don't like and don't trust Palantir. Nevertheless, Palantir got the bulk of that NHS contract, and they've even seen some extensions on top of that. So let's say, hypothetically, that this reconstruction deal with Ukraine is going to be pro bono. Well, first, I think it's the right thing to do, and it's nice that Palantir really wants to build and build up, and that's really their main thrust. Although they are willing to, of course, help companies, and not just companies, but also countries defend themselves if it comes to that. But even more importantly, that this is on very much on the world stage, and if reconstruction efforts go dramatically more successful than they typically do, usually there's a lot of chaos, a lot of corruption, a lot of issues that happen. And that's pointed at Palantir because it went so well. This is a great opportunity for them in the international stage. That's one of the areas that Palantir has grown a lot more slowly, especially Europe. This is front and center for Europe. And I would imagine that if things go well, and they probably will go well, not perfectly, nothing does, that Palantir will likely get a lot more contracts with Ukraine, yes, but also with Europe as well on the world stage. But what if this is not a pro bono operation? What if Palantir gets some revenue from this? Let's say, $20 million, $30 million a year. That's not really significant as far as their bottom line, but every little bit helps. And international revenue especially is something that, a lot of people are looking at Palantir to produce more of. And it's just a matter of time, I think. So regardless of whether they make a lot of money or it's for $1 US or something like that, Palantir is poised to benefit from this piece. And beyond that, we have things such as this fund, this creation between the United States and Ukraine regarding the mineral rights that I think is just right for Palantir to jump in on that, as well as they're trusted by both parties. Their technology works very, very well. And as far as any government's sort of issue and really being able to aggregate the data, Palantir is absolutely sublime when it comes to that. So let me know what you think in the comments. Is this meaningful for Palantir? And is there something that I'm missing in regards to this piece deal that is either more bullish or more bearish? Of course, Palantir does report earnings relatively soon. This will be on Monday, this coming Monday. So I hope to do an earnings preview before that on X and probably on this platform as well. Busy week, but there's a lot of exciting news happening in the market and with earnings, certainly. Never a dull moment in the market. And I want to thank you as well. We're nearly hitting 4,000 subscribers. I've just been doing YouTube for a short time. I think it was August or September when I finally launched after a long wait. And I just want to really thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for your support, for watching, commenting, subscribing, and all of that as well. Really, truly do mean it. And I want to wish you guys happy investing. Until next time.